When I read Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's Feminist Manifesto, so many things were boiling in my mind. I asked myself, where are our women? Where are the Aba women who stood against injustice of taxation of the British colonial masters? Where are these kind of women? Where are the Dora Akonyeles? Where are the Fumilera Sonkotis? Where are the Okonji Iwealadem? Where are these kind of women? We lost our women. Their voices have gone silent. Today, a woman will be shouting that she is being harassed sexually by somebody, and the fellow women are standing against her. Instead of going all out for justice, they are standing against her, probably because they are observing table etiquette. We lost our women. Welcome to the Diary of a Broken Man, where we dissect political, economic, and social issues concerning our country, Nigeria. And today, we discuss the Aba Women's Riot and their... Okay, I know what to do. Welcome to the Diary of a Broken Man, where we dissect political, economic, and social issues concerning our country, Nigeria, and Africa as a whole. Today, we discuss Aba Women's Riot of 1929, and also known as Women's War. We discuss this and we juxtapose it with the current set of feminists in Nigeria. Remember to subscribe, to like, to share, and to comment. Now, the Aba Women's Riot, who were basically Igbo women, was a pivotal anti-colonial uprising led by Igbo and Ibibio women combined in southeastern Nigeria. Now, here's the structure of the analysis of its historical significance and its connection to the modern Nigerian feminism and the opposition to it. Historical context and the causes. The first is colonial policies. Now, the British indirect rule marginalized traditional female leadership roles. Remember the Igbo setting, that women were elevated to a very high standard in the Igbo setting during this era and before this era. So when the British people came with their indirect rule of trying to use, village chiefs to control the affairs of the town, they started neglecting the leadership settings of the Igbo communities, where we had the council of elders, where we had the age grades, then where we have Ụmụada and so many other women's groups that control things, organized how they do things. These people came and they tried to destroy this, or tried to, overload this with their serfs or their chiefs, warrant chiefs. And the Igbo women said no. So these women, the Ụmụada or Women's Council, and they remember the British people imposed taxation on men, and look at this. Around before 1929 or around then, it was rumored that women would also be asked to pay taxes, and this sparked outrage. So women were economic actors in the palm oil trade. You remember during that period, Nigeria was booming with agriculture, and women were pivotal in this because the palm oil were mostly done and processed by women, and this was their economic chance you want to take away. And what was the trigger? The trigger that led to the main riot of 1929. Let's talk about it. In Oloko, Warrant Chief Okugo attempted to count women, census. And this was interpreted as prelude to taxation, which led to protests. Women used the traditional tactic of sitting on a man, public shaming through song, dance, occupation of spaces to demand justice. You remember, you are seeing what is happening in Enugu State right now, and you see how the women come out, occupy everywhere, sit down on the roads, demand for what they feel is right. And you see, most times it works out for them because there is this female power, there is this power in women. Okay, so they demanded justice. Now, let's dissect the key events that happened within that period. One was the spread of revolt. Protests escalated into a mass movement across the region, with thousands of women attacking colonial offices, huts, and the Warrant Chief's properties. The British responded violently, culminating in the Ngwa Road massacre, where troops killed approximately 50 to 60 women. What was the aftermath of this killing? A colonial commission of inquiry acknowledged abuses, leading to reforms like abolishing warrant chiefs and tentative inclusion of women in local governance. However, colonial exploitation persisted even after this. Now, what was the significance in anti-colonial resistance? One was that they set precedents for nationalism. The revolt demonstrated organized resistance to colonial oppression, inspiring later nationalist movements. It highlighted the intersection of gender and colonial exploitation, challenging the notion that anti-colonial struggles were male-dominated. Rejection of patriarchy. The women contested both colonial patriarchy, example taxation, without representation, and the traditional patriarchal norms that eroded their autonomy. Legacy in modern Nigerian feminism. What was the legacy they got? We see during the facade, because I saw it as a facade, it was not real. Most of them weren't doing it for doing its sake. They were doing it because there was an ulterior motive. Some of them were funded. Some of them, we heard the news, and it's unfortunate how we use grievous things to look for personal gains. So we saw they bring back our girls 2014 campaign, against gender-based violence. Echoed this echoed what happened in the Aba Women's Riot. It was like a re-echo of that event of 1929. Okay. Nigerian Women's Union, founded in 1949, and today's Women's Advocates Research and Documentation Center, the WARDC, draws inspiration from the legacy of 1929. Now, what are the evolving challenges? One, modern feminism, which addresses broader issues like political representation, example, 25% affirmative action campaign, economic inequality, and probably LGBTQ rights, but not in Nigeria, because we can't talk about LGBTQ rights in Nigeria. While leveraging digital activism and global solidarity networks. What are the debates and the nuances? First is terminology. While some scholarly debates labeling the 1929 revolt feminist, a term not used then, its focus on women's rights and autonomy aligns with feminist principles of today. But the reforms and their impact, one is colonial reforms post-inquiry were limited. Systemic change required later struggles. Yet the revolt remains a cultural touchstone for certain women's political voices. Now, in conclusion, the Aba Women's Riot exemplifies how resistance to colonial and patriarchy can intersect. Its legacy endures in the Nigerian feminist movement, which continues to challenge systemic inequalities while honoring the courage and strategic organizing of their foremothers. The event underscores the enduring power of women's collective action in shaping both historical and contemporary struggle for justice. While unfortunately, while we praise the Aba women and the Ibibio women for standing for what is right, the modern issues show us that women are becoming less powerful in our society, or rather that most women have chosen to focus on the wrong things. What are the wrong things? Focusing on how to do this to men, do that to men, instead of harnessing the power in their femininity. it's almost uncalled for, the kind of things we see. Most women, if you open 90% of podcasts you listen to today, are mostly women trying to talk about men, and they call this feminism. Unfortunately, feminism is not about fighting men. It's about asserting with female dominance. It's about awakening the female power. And what are the female power? Whatever men can do, women can also do. Maybe somehow even better. Now, the current issue with Senator Natasha and the Senator Akpabio, the Senate President, almost exposed the kind of feminism we have. Do you know that as at today, the 8th or 7th of March, the Twitter, the Nigerian Twitter, especially for women, is dragging Mommy Z. And sometimes I look at these things and I laugh. Like, your fellow woman is shouting that in her workplace, because this sets a precedent. If this is not well handled, if this is not treated correctly, if this is not handled well, because now she cried out for what she experienced, and instead of treating the issue, they sidelined the issue and suspended her. This is a big precedent for our country, Nigeria, and if we don't do anything about it, if we all choose to keep silent, more women will experience this. Probably they can touch you anyhow, they can do anything to you, and if you talk, because the culture of silence is brewing now. And instead of our women rising up like the Aba women of 1929, the Ibibio and Aba women of 1929, instead of saying enough is enough, instead of calling for resignations, calling for investigation, calling for independent investigation of this allegation, they chose to cower down and chose to be against the victim. In fact, make the victim. I don't understand. It's like your child coming back to tell you that somebody beat him in the school or somewhere, and instead of going to investigate who beat your child and why your child was beaten, you start beating your own child, make your child another victim, second time. This is the kind of feminism we are fighting. The kind of feminism that goes on every podcast to tell you how talking stage is 20 million. The kind of feminism that goes around telling you that men are scum, this and that. Feminism used to be about the creative excellence of women. Feminism used to be about women going to the moon, defying all odds. Feminism used to be about women going to the stars. Feminism used to be about women building cars. Feminism used to be about women, going to those places they say no woman has ever entered before, and doing what those things they said women cannot do. This was what feminism was. Feminism was Chioma Ajunwa coming back to Nigeria with gold. Feminism was, name them, the great women we have in history. This was what feminism was. Women who stood against all odds to achieve great things. This is what feminism is. Feminism is not about fighting men. And in fact, men is not your problem. Men, they are not your problem. So I become ashamed when I listen to the kind of conversations that emanate from the so-called feminists. And I wonder, where do they draw their inspiration? From where do they get these inspirations? Who trained them? Who gave them such ideas? And most of these ideas are not just implosive, those ideas are as whack as possible. that when you listen to them, it's just vindictiveness. You know, it's almost some people projecting their emotional traumas, projecting their whole inferiority complex, their whole anger, their whole vengeance, and the desire to everything evil in them, trying to project it on others in the name of feminism. And I'm here to tell you that feminism is more than just vengeance. It's more than vendetta. Feminism is about standing up for women's rights. Feminism is about women achieving great things. Feminism is about women doing what everybody said they cannot do. This is what feminism is. And if you are not doing this, you are not a feminist, you are a destructive agent. Don't teach your children these kind of things, and don't corrupt our young girls with this kind of whack mentality. Let me know in the comment section what you think and how you think we can get the crop of women we had in the past. Such women who had the guts to defy all odds and take the bull by the horn. Let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to subscribe, to like, to share. And I will see you on the next one. Cheers.